7 Westchester turnovers, 72% shooting for Sioux Falls. That's your ball game through one quarter.
Sioux Falls on the season #1 field goal percentage in the league, just a hair under 50%, outperforming that in the first 12 minutes. Benson with the long outlet, pull-up 3 at the buzzer, and it's no good for Briante Weber. Against the Skyforce, no good for Briante Weber. Against the Skyforce, a team that set the regular season D-League record with 40 wins in 50 games.
And you got to look at the turnover story. That was the biggest key, or one of the 2 biggest in that first quarter. The other, red-hot shooting for the Skyforce.
Jimmer Fredette on the awkward release. Hits it 2 falling away with Joey Waller, David Resnick. Our entire Whittington will treat here in Westchester as a practice player for the Knicks. Westchester had hoped that he'd be able to join the team this season. Instead, he was part of Miami's training camp and winded up in Sioux Falls. Miami, of course, the parent club of the Skyforce. Fredette off the screen, looking to be aggressive, and it's a swish.
And they made it easy on him, gave him an open look, moving Westchester within
4-2, the series shifting to South Dakota at Sioux Falls. It's a Friday night, 8 o'clock Eastern game, and then if necessary on Sunday at 8:30, it's game 3. Also in Sioux Falls. For more on this series, please go to NBADleague.com or visit the NBA D-League app. Keith Benson, another all-star for Sioux Falls, rebounds the miss.
Paczynski.
Sioux Falls rebounds the miss.
Paczynski had a good look over Benson, couldn't hit.
Teray Murray off the spin. In season, 56 games overall as an NBA pro, earning a 10-day contract last year with Washington, but has not found his way back to the association this season. Jordan Paczynski patient on the block.
And finally, Jordan here, a couple of minutes into the second quarter, And finally, Jordan here, a couple of minutes into the second quarter, gets into the scoring column.
And as quickly as Westchester finally finds the cup, Briante Weber the other way.
Jimmer against Whittington here, big mismatch, but able to draw the foul. Well, one of the things about Jimmer Fredette, he can create his own shot, he can do it off the dribble, but
#1 in the D-League for Fredette, who earned a single 10-day contract with the New York Knicks earlier this season. He also got called up by New Orleans at the start of the D-League year. James circling, shovels it. Paczynski having Benson pinned on his back, and he scores.
And Paczynski's a guy we've discussed during the season, Dave.
One-handed no, follows his own miss.
And too easy off the offensive glass that time. Paczynski, the only white shirt. Sioux Falls able to go up 15.
Benson, one of 7 different players for Sioux Falls, averaging in double figures. Here's a 6'11" guy off the bench. Fredette going back to the line.
Yeah, so they're both talk about depth.
Also on the floor for Sioux Falls. And there is one with Maine on the road up by 10. And interestingly, Joey, Westchester in our game, the lower seed, 3 out of 4 from Sioux Falls, but early on, both division winners are off to good starts.
And the fact that 2 games, if necessary, in this series yet to come would be at Sioux Falls. Well, Westchester actually, as Paczynski is able to power one home. Westchester actually very unusual at this last shot.
Knicks are the worst in terms of made.
The fact that the Knicks are 3 of 5 from 3, the fact that they're shooting an even 50% from the floor overall doesn't matter right now, because Sioux Falls is shooting 68% from the floor and has been even hotter from 3. It's got to start with defense for Westchester.
It starts in the corner for Jimmer Fredette.
So with their more modest, capable, has been out for several minutes, and guess what? Now he's about to return.
There are only 10 active players for each team available today. So each player is so very important. Paczynski turns on the rip through. and draws the contact against Keith Benson, a pair of big.
As a college player a few years ago, back in 2014 at Arizona State.
Hand off to James, couldn't handle, it's on the deck. It'll stay with Westchester.
Dan Craig looking for players like Benson and Whittington have not played all that much.
And with that collision, good to see Darion Atkins not suffer any ill effects from that contact to his knees. 2 on the timer. Extra pass, Baczynski. The Knicks ran out of seconds.
Well, off the overplay against James has led Westchester to the...
Knicks just a half a step, a half a second short. On the kick out to Weber. He drives in for the shorter pull-up, no. 40 ticks to go. Knicks ball, they can hurry for a 2-for-1. Crawford dashing to the lane, lost it. Fortuitous redirection to Atkins. He's after the loose ball, no. Baczynski a chance. And on the block attempt, he's fouled. It's Greg.
Led by the 24 of Stokes.
The 5th foul committed there by Antetokounmpo, so Baczynski checks back in. On the floor with Keith Wright, Travis Trice, Rashad James, and Jordan Crawford.
Small lineup, 3 going to attack for Westchester.
Crawford, Briante Weber, Greg Whittington, DeAndre Liggins, along with Keith Benson.
So we talked about it on Westchester's way, handing Sioux Falls 3 of their 10 losses, but so far, Sioux Falls has kept Westchester from really having any sustained period of several minutes where they've been good on both ends.
Here comes James, eyeing the rim. He dribbled it off of his foot.
There you see Dan Craig continuing to coach it up, his club up by 13.
Out to Trice, a 3. Back an entire year was the win regular season record. They got to 40 against just 10 losses, and they are the favorites to take home the NBA D-League championship.
Yeah, that old record of 38 wins belonged to LA, the D-Fenders, D-Fenders.
James misfires. Baczynski outraced by Whittington.
Yeah, both teams inept on the offensive end to start the 4th. We've seen from Sioux Falls, not so much for Westchester. Because Westchester has a knack late in these games in which they're trailing. We've seen it during the year, turning up the defense and getting out in transition, causing some turnovers and getting back in the game. Not yet.
Crawford uses the screen off the pump fake. Too strong. And a loose ball foul as the Sioux Falls defense, and that's what the Skyforce.
Mike Miller says, let me call a timeout or this game's going to be over. How easy? Easy enough that this game's not over yet. He's been on the bench for a while, taking a nice respite. We mentioned coming in, Sioux Falls 22-4 with him in the lineup. They've shown us why. We mentioned he leads the league, 66% shooting, and he has shown us why then.
A chance for Sioux Falls to take its largest lead of the ball game. It lips out for Whittington in transition.
We mentioned he leads the league, 66% shooting, and he has shown us why then.
A chance for Sioux Falls to take its largest lead of the ball game. It lips out for Whittington in transition. Knicks have 8:35 to deal with here in the 4th as Fredette heads back to the foul line.
By any means, in terms of height nor in terms of girth, but it's just the way they play. They're tough, and you know, kind of combination you need.
DeAndre Liggins just shielding off Kevin Capers and then hits the jumper.
And doing a lot of talking in the direction of Mr. Capers and the official telling him to knock it off. That's Liggins. Kevin Capers on here for the first time.
Wants to go right at Liggins. Tries the reverse layup. Liggins.
A good player at the Division II level at Florida Southern, led his team.
Free throw over his season average and extending the lead back to 14.
And how about this number that I just noticed, Dave, for Sioux Falls, one of the rare negative numbers. They're only 15 of 25 from the line. They've missed 10 free throws, and yet they still lead it by 14. Imagine if they had hit half of the ones they missed.
Atkins on the baseline, no. Benson elevates high over Capers for the defensive rebounds. And the speed over midcourt. Whittington spinning off the glass with the offhand. 99-83, midway through the fourth. Sioux Falls in control. Trice driving, answers with a running layup.
Trice has put together a decent game now, 15 points. Trice, Baczynski, and of course Fredette just have not done enough as a group today. Fredette doing it in spurts, offensive Friday at 8, and if necessary at 8:30 on Sunday. Canton, by the way, beating Maine in their series opener tonight, so that's an interesting development. Maine the higher seed there.
The charge coming from behind to defeat the Red Claws at